Welcome to Moonside Lake build episode 3. Today, the beast. As you can see, as hard as I tried, I did not manage to conceal my character. As you can see, these little tufts of grey fur and in the bottom of the screen, breaking the beautiful homogeneity and serenity of this scene. Anyway, today, as I said, the beast. Back in the days in 2004, late 2014, beginning 15, I think, like when just before Bloodborne released, From Software started communicating on what their new game would be, and they mentioned that the player would progressively lose its humanity and become a beast. Immediately, the whole community started getting crazy, literally, about the fact that they were werewolves and stuff, so we would be able to become werewolves ourselves and probably like invade other players, beast versus hunters and stuff like that. And when the game released, obviously nothing of this was happening, so it was kind of a disappointment. And then when they released the DLC, FromSoft added this Beast Embrace carrier rune that allows you to turn into a beast. So for those of you who do not know, in order to get the carrier rune Beast Embrace, you would need to go into the DLC, go through basically actually the first half of the DLC, kill Ludwig basically, and then in the elevator you will find the skull of Lawrence, and then you can go back to the church where you found the key that gave you access to this elevator in the first place, that was in the hand of Lawrence, and Lawrence comes back to his senses. It was sort of like basically resurrects, and obviously tries to squeeze you, and once you kill him you have Beast Embrace. When you equip it, you just become something like this. For information, the Beast Embrace rune allows you to basically equip any piece of armor that you want, but only the torso and the legs will be displayed as what they are. As you can see, the head and the arms, despite the fact that I have stuff equipped on them, are not displayed. They are overrun by the skin of the Beast Embrace stuff. And since I am a bit of a hardcore crazy nutcase, I really like to play my beast without any armor so that I can see all this beautiful fur spreading and twirling around like, ooh. Anyway, when you equip the beast claw, that's where Beast Embrace becomes interesting, because the beast claw suddenly doesn't have the same moveset as before. Before, the Beast Claw has a moveset that is very quick, very nimble, extremely fast, but has no reach whatsoever, has very little hitbox as well, and apart from the jumping R2 and the L2, the variations on the moveset that you can do with the Beast Claw without Beast Embrace rune equipped is really very bad. But with the Beast Embrace equipped, suddenly the moveset changes to a slightly slower and a little bit more sort of violent, heavy feeling moveset. So the untransformed R1 is this, and you can see that you plunge your stuff violently in the ground, which looks kind of cool, but also kind of sucks in terms of hitbox and playstyle. The R2 is just boring, normal, big swing. I don't think there is a follow-up. No, there is no follow-up. The charged R2 is okay, and there is no follow-up. Um, the real advantage of the Beast Claw with Beast Embrace equipped is that even in untransformed mode, you will each time you swing and connect your swings to an opponent, you will start building up beasthood, even untransformed. Without the Beast Embrace rune equipped, normally you build the beasthood meter only in transformed mode for the beast claw. But once you have Beast Embrace equipped, even untransformed builds up your beasthood, which coincidentally allows you to use this little thing here, the Fist of Gratia, to a much more interesting extent than normally. Fist of Gratia is a pure strength weapon. You can see that it scales exclusively on strength, it scales A on strength, which is good, and does okay-ish damage, okay-ish. You hit for 240 at 50 strength. Mwah. It doesn't have any gem slots, so that's it. The strength of the Fist of Gratia is not its damage. It's the fact that every time you swing it, you have almost a guaranteed stagger. Temporary, you don't open for viscerals, although there are debates in the community whether it's possible, because people have managed to do it, but it's usually on cooperation, so you never know with the shitty Bloodborne netcode. But I personally never managed to actually get a visceral opening just punching with the Fist of Gratia, so I don't know. But the interesting thing in this build is that swinging the Fist of Gratia with the Beast Claw and Beast Embrace both equipped at the same time also builds up your beasthood. And since the Fist of Gratia actually deals physical damage, it benefits from the beasthood meter boost. So in the end, it's kind of cool, although still very gimmicky, because quite frankly, the Fist of Gratia is not good. Let's just put it this way. Anyway, let's come back to what we were talking about, the Beast Claw. So the Beast Claw as a weapon, regardless of whether you have Beast Embrace or not equipped, is a weapon that is characterized by two things: a fairly low damage, base damage, 150 when most of the weapons have 170 or more, which is a handicap to start with. It means that the base damage and the scaling after that will, I mean, the bonus based on the base damage with gems will be, well, not as good as with other weapons. I mean, you compare to all the others, they're all hit at two. Well, okay, the Kirk Hammer is the beast of weapons in this case, but all above 170. So that's not great. And the scaling is not that great either. I mean, C in strength is okay-ish, and D in dexterity is, yeah, why not? And that is why, in order to use those weapons, the Beast Claw properly, it's basically to get the best bang for your bucks, 50 strength and 25 skill is the best. Of course, you will do a little bit more damage if you go also to 50 in skill with this weapon, but the difference will be absolutely negligible. You will basically have like what, 20 more AR, maybe 30. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But that's for 25 more levels, kind of appallingly bad investment, really, of 25 levels. So that's why I stopped at 25 in skill, in order to stick to the 120 meta back in the days. For the vitality and endurance distribution, it's basically straightforward. You level up your vitality to, I don't like to go to 50 because that's only 8 more HPs with 2 runes between 49 and 50, but anyway. And the rest in endurance, and that's it. No blood tinge, no arcane, no use. So with that said, that you start obviously as let me see, as a not professional, violent. What? I started as yes. I started as violent pass, but you can perfectly start as military veteran. It's the exact same thing, except military veteran has 7 in blood tinge and 6 in arcane, I think. So, you know, tomato doesn't make any difference. And my character is very retrospectively, I thought she was looking great back like 5 years ago when I did, or 4 years ago when I did her, and yeah, it's good that she's looking like a werewolf retrospectively. Anyway, so yeah, violent past or military professional, military veteran is what you want. Okay, the beast claw once transformed becomes very interesting, but the main difference with using the claws with and without beast embrace is that with beast embrace you suddenly have transformation attacks. Without beast embrace, if I press R1 then L1, I don't have anything happening. I just transform my weapon, I don't hit. Whereas here, as you can see, when I transform my weapon after a movement, I hit, and God knows I hit hard. This is by far the best movement to use with this weapon. This one, transformation attack from untransformed to transformed, is monstrous. Staggers a lot, has a massive hitbox, super fast, costs very little stamina, and does massive amount of damage and builds your beasthood massively. So yeah, it's only good stuff. The good news is that as for without the beast embrace equipped, the beast claw also has a transform to untransformed transformation attack, which is looking like this and is like this, and is pretty much exactly the same as before, as without beast embrace, I mean. So yeah, so it doesn't seem like much, but the fact that it has a running attack untransformed that looks like this with R2 triggers a lot of stagger, hits hard, builds already your beasthood, because in untransformed mode you already build beasthood. When you attack someone, you do that. You running R1, transformation attack, and then, quite frankly, you can just do that. Or you can mix it up, you attack, you transform, and then you start spamming happy R1. The spamming happy R1 on the beast embrace version of the weapon is actually pretty good. It's slightly slower, but still, as you can see, still pretty quick, and has a much larger swing and much larger hitbox than without beast embrace equipped, so it's good. Also deals slightly more damage, but is very negligible. The R2 is not bad at all by any stretch of imagination, and it has a 3 combo like this. So in the end, transformed beast claw with beast embrace loses a little bit of speed compared to what it used to be before beast embrace, but also gains a lot of sort of hitbox. So in the end, you can basically use this weapon as a standalone weapon pretty much, and just go at it, and it will probably, you will have something for every single situation with it. What else do we have? Oh, one of the main things that has to be said is that in beast embrace mode with beast claws equipped, the moment you do something, you have this weird attitude that is looking super rad, but goes hand in hand with this sort of weird hop that makes you look very goofy when you use it with raviolis like this. I love it. Anyway, but the real problem with that is that your rolling attacks start a little bit delayed. You can see that you roll faster, slightly faster, but you also roll slowly, and that is also more slow. So it's like for the squid, when you equip the milkweed rune, you become a bit more slow and a bit more easy to hit, because your iframes are modified, either delayed or shortened, or both, I'm not sure. So you have to remember that. And the other drawback that comes with Beast Embrace when you have the Beast Claw equipped, but when you have Beast Embrace equipped, is you look cool, but you don't have Hunter, and that means that you cannot equip a rune that makes your stamina regenerate faster, which is the single most useful rune that you can think of in Bloodborne. What else? You also have, so when you're rolling, and your rolling attacks and recoveries are just extremely normal and boring, so nothing fancy here. There is one thing that is cool with the Beast Embrace, is the tap forward R2 that makes you jump like this, and you can change the direction, which is good for sort of playing mind tricks in PvP, but quite frankly we will see that the hitbox is so abysmally shit that you just don't want to use it at all. But yeah, that brings me to what this weapon's main problem is: the hitbox and the inconsistency of connections with your weapons. This very often just misses even if you hit straight on, because it has like several compartments to its hitbox, several phases also, and in the end usually only the splash effect of the landing impact actually connects and doesn't do much damage. This can actually trigger a visceral when it's hitting an opponent in the back, just like a charged R2. You do not have a charged R2 in transform mode, you have a charged R2 in untransform mode. The other thing that I don't like with the Beast Claw in Beast mode, in Beast Embrace mode, is this, the running R2. It looks awesome, it sounds awesome. It usually ends up badly, because once again, the hit detection is bad. You never really know what part of the animation hits your opponent, and very often you actually hit only at the beginning or at the end of the animation, and you miss the full range, the full weight of the damage. And it's like it's doing a normal sort of amount of damage compared to other weapons, just it's split in different times and places, so everything has to connect in order to do what any other weapon does with running R2, which is fucking sad. The running R1 is the worst. It is so slow, and the hitbox starts so much further after you pressed R1, because you continue running for like 5 meters before you actually start hitting. Now it's really bad. You can use it with and that brings me to what the backstep R2 is, which is also kind of cool, but only just gimmicky, because once again the hitbox detection is really weird, so most of the time you just miss and you don't know why. So the whole idea behind the Beast Claw is to make a weapon that is not dealing a lot of damage initially, but allows you to build beasthood all the time without gulping beast blood pellets, which means that is pretty much the only weapon that you will be able to use in order to have beasthood meter activated all the time without yeah, well, wasting all your pellets in a dungeon for very often no good reason. So yeah, it's a gimmicky weapon. Let's just put it this way. It was a gimmicky weapon before Beast Embrace. It made it feel and play differently, slightly differently with Beast Embrace, but in the end it's still essentially a subpar weapon. The real advantage of the weapon though is that since you can build beasthood without using beast blood pellets, you can just come and rush an opponent, do that, boom, your beasthood is up by a fair bit, and then you switch to another weapon that does massive damage and still benefits to the already increased beasthood meter that you have just built up. And that is the way it should be used. But once you start playing it, you will realize that, oh god, your beasthood meter drops so fast compared to how fast it builds up. And that is the main problem. Anyway, what gems do I have on it? I have just classic 27.2% gems. I think ideally you want to have the ones that I have equipped on some of my other characters for PvE, for pure physical PvE weapons, and that is a 20, well, ideally 21% plus 12% physical at full health. So you would have to use the uncanny version of the Beast Claw for that. But I haven't bothered farming those gems for this character because I don't like this build. I liked this build for a while, or I thought I liked this build. I certainly liked the look of it, but the feel of it I abhor. I just do not like this weapon. I just can't bring myself to like this weapon, even though every single fiber in my body screams, oh yeah, I'm a werewolf, I'm so happy. But no, it just feels so wrong when you play it. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, you have a good feeling, like because you basically mash R1 or land a few transformation at, and you do some serious damage with it. But any other weapon with a similar sort of gemming and optimized build would probably do much better. So yeah. Now the question that you will probably ask is, but you have 50 strength, so why on earth don't you slot a plus 65 strength scaling like the one that you have in the first radial slot here, a plus 65 strength scaling plus physical and whatever curse you find with that? Well, because I actually use this weapon a lot for viscerals, and if you sacrifice one of the radials for a strength scaling gem, then you lose a lot of visceral damage, namely 27.2%. So I don't like it, because what I really like with this build is how hard you can hit with a visceral attack, because you have beasthood built up already, you have 25 skill, which is perfectly decent for a decent amount of visceral damage, and you have very good physical gems. All that, and you hit for very high numbers for your viscerals, which is always satisfying. This is Bloodborne after all. And that's pretty much everything I have to say about this weapon. It's really not the best. It feels and looks cool as long as you don't have to fight anything serious with it. Really. Of course, I know that lots of people would disagree with me. I mean, it's not like a lot of people love this weapon, and And like anything else in the Souls games, you know, it's balanced well enough that yes, you will do just fine with that if you like it, if you know, if somehow it clicks with your playstyle, etc. But the delayed rolls, the sluggishness of certain moves, especially those ones, um, in transformed mode mostly, makes it just sort of meh. And it doesn't have any hyper armor except on that and the transformation attacks, which then again comes back to the fact that transformation attacks are pretty much the only thing that makes this weapon in this mode good. Now, when you have 15 strength, you can use pretty much any strength weapon in the game. So I will cover them. I pretty much, apart from the Kirk Hammer, I don't like any of those weapons, especially not the whirligig. So basically the whole build that I'm talking about today is a build that I don't like. So well, that's how it is, you know. But I played a lot with it. But in the end, when I come back to it and play with it, I'm like, oh my god, that's such a drag. It's slow, it's boring and repetitive. It's just annoying and I don't like it. Anyway, the king of annoying weapons is the whirligig, so I will start with the bad and finish with the good. The whirligig is probably the most damaging weapon in the game. I don't think there is any question about that. On 50 strength, considering that by default this thing scales with a factor of S in strength and has massive initial damage, you can see that with the proper gems it goes well above 800. Well, because here you don't see we're missing 11% because I have one of those gems on it. That has plus 11% on full health, so you would hit for what is it, 600 plus 200, so 800, almost not quite 1,000 but like 900 AR roughly as it is, and you can go to about 1,000 with 3 times a gem like this on it at full health. Yeah, now it's not even what is really broken in this weapon. The raw damage is definitely a part of the equation, but what is really broken is the fact that every time you tick a damage with this move, you add whatever buff you have on your whirligig. So you slap a fire paper on it and then you go to town. Plus, each revolution that connects also builds your beasthood meter. So of course you slap a beast blood pellet, and you just go to town, and that makes it utterly broken. But it's also utterly boring. Look at that. It's just like, seriously, this move set. This is so bad. It doesn't. I just can't. The untransformed moveset is as bad. It's just a big stick that you swing, and the transformation attack is just so. Anyway, I don't like this weapon. But it's serrated, does insane damage, has a mechanism of revolution that adds each buff that you have on it for each tick. I mean, it's really good. I mean, you tear beasts to pieces with it. That's it. That's what it's here for. The boom hammer is much more fun, but also slightly monodimensional very quickly. So when you buff it with L1, you add the fire damage. You also drain a massive amount of your stamina. This is exactly the same pretty much if you have it unbuffed or buffed. except that when you buff it, you add 120 points of fire damage, and the modifiers are also applied to the fire, so it hits harder. But it's also still pretty slow. So the real way of using this weapon is this way: charged attack, after buff, boom. The other way is transformed, jumping attack, jumping R2, boom. So you pancake everything with that, and you deal massive amounts of damage. It's quite fun. It has a ton of hyper armor on the L2 especially, and you can continue to transform your weapon when you swing L1, swing L1, swing L1, and swing, etc. It consumes a massive amount of stamina with each swing once you're buffed, though. Just keep that in mind. Apart from that, it's all blunt, so you can slot it with blunt gems to be really optimal. As you can see, it's all basically all mixed up with whatever gems I had, but I didn't want to actually go for really good, make sense gem setups on any of those, so it's kind of a weird patchwork. I also have like a strength scaling weapon on it, despite the fact that it scales A on strength by default. It doesn't make much difference whether you slot a 28.7 blunt plus whatever on it instead of the plus 63 scaling, 65. It doesn't make much difference. So, and if you put a blunt on it, then it doesn't work for your viscerals anyway, no more than the strength scaling will improve your viscerals. So it's not good for viscerals anyway. So yeah, the viscerals, you want to go back for the beast claw here. So that's for the whirligig sauce for the beasts. The uncanny boom hammer here is for whatever, you know, just doing big booms from time to time, especially against something that is kind of sensitive to fire. But then again, the amount of fire damage that you deal with this sort of attack compared to actual fire damage done with even with a weapon that is slotted with 320% gems fire without any arcane, it's not, it's less, but anyway. What else? Let's talk about what I use against the kin then, because the problem when you have a strength built is that suddenly the thrusting weapons all scale on skill, and there is no way that you can make a skill weapon good on a strength built without using the strength scaling gems. But hey, rejoice, because at least you can do that, whereas the skill builds, they can't use good blunt weapons on their skill, because the skill scaling gems are shit. Anyway, but well, the king of the piercing weapons is the church pick, so let's talk about the church pick quickly. This weapon is basically almost like 90% of its attacks is basically thrusts. So thrust, 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 thrust. So when it's transformed, it's only thrust, only a few untransformed attacks. So this one is thrust, not thrust, not thrust, thrust. And that is thrust. But when it's charged R2, it's not thrust. So it's kind of annoying. I just use it only for thrust because it's only for kin bosses. So I just transform it and I spam R1 like an absolute idiot. How does it work? Well, in order to do damage with it, you will need to actually bump severely the scaling on your strength for this build. So obviously you want to slap a strength scaling gem on it. And since I want to use it exclusively on kin, I don't care, and I used only attack versus beast down gems, because as I said earlier, if I want to tear a beast to shreds, I use the whirligig, so here. Um, so the church pick for the kin, and it's all thrust attacks gems. They are not by any stretch of imagination the best you can get, especially not the triangle that is at slow poison effect, which is abysmally shit. But hey, in the end, this guy does almost plus 500 in thrust damage. You slap a bolt paper on it, a beasthood, a beast blood pellet, and you go to town. That's what it's made for. There's not much to say about the church pick. It's a very sort of straightforward weapon, shares a lot of the burial blade moves without any of the class and the good looks, but is insanely efficient. Also boring. Um, Now, what else do we have? The last but not least, the Kirk Hammer. So the Kirk Hammer, I have a love-hate relationship with this weapon. I love the transformed mode, that is the hammer, because it is really good. It deals massive amounts of damage, as you would expect with such a hulk of stone or metal, I don't know, is basically staggering anything it connects with, even if it doesn't connect. Actually, if you hit on the ground, it staggers. But the non-transform moveset, the sword moveset, I still have a problem with, and I hate the Ludwig Holy Blade as well, because they have the exact same moveset, but also the Ludwig Holy Blade, I don't like the transformed looks and feel. So yeah, well, let's go into it. That's why I actually slotted this, this weapon with blunt gems, essentially, because I don't intend to use the sword at all. Although this is a very self-sufficient weapon, technically, because the sword has normal standard damage and thrusts, which is very good for kin, as you know already, and is fairly quick and nimble. Jesus, it's your freaking boring longsword from Dark Souls, really. Like, R1, R1, R1. But what is really good with this weapon is that you have a lot of little tricks to do with that. First one is this one. You transform R1. None of the other weapons apart from the Ludwig blade and the Shikage can do something like this, where you basically transform something and you can, without any other input, start a move of its own. But well, fairly circumstantial. In PvP, it's good. Like when you are unlocked or whatever, and you dodge and then you transform and boom, you hit. It's actually good. Again, the transformed running attack has this sort of shield aspect to it that is not bad, but is not good either. It does really bad damage, but absorbs most of the damage of the incoming damage as well. So it's really hard to actually make good use of. Kind of circumstantial and relies mostly on luck, I would say. The running R2 is good. This is why I like this weapon. The running R2 and the exact same move, the L2. Because that is feeling so good to just crush everything on its path. You just cleanse everything with that. And in the end, I barely ever use R1. I just use that all the time. That has the beautiful ability to follow with something else, and a third hit. If you are able to land it, it does a massive amount of damage. The charged attack has a follow-up that is absolutely destructive, which is good for pure strength build, because pure strength builds usually have have basic skills, so do not do very good visceral damage. So if you want to if you arrive in the back of something, you just collapse it, and instead of doing the visceral, you just do the follow-up, and you do massive amount of damage, probably more than a visceral with 25 skill only. Transformation attacks is also a very good one. Yeah, basically a big Hulk that is very good to basically deal with big groups of lots of mobs, because you have a lot of hyper armor. With that, it's pretty much impossible to get staggered or interrupted, so you just tear through things. Plus you interrupt anything with that. A watcher, a sage, nobody can actually withstand a, well, that depends what hit they are using, but most of the time you interrupt them. Voila. So typically when if you look at things here, I have 882 of AR with this weapon transformed in blunt. Considering the multiplier of those attacks, you hit for over 1,000 every time. So what you do is you build up your beasthood with that, and then you switch to this, and you do that, and that is usually a very good way of getting rid of a whole group quite quickly. In the firearms department, what do we have? Well, classic. I have the Gatling gun and the cannon because I have enough strength to use both and dexterity to use both. But I do not recommend the cannon on a build that doesn't have any blood tinge in it, because it doesn't hit hard enough to justify using 12 bullets and spending a lot of time recovering from your shot. So I don't use it. What is really good is this, and it's actually, it should be slotted with a 31.2 or 5% blood gem, but it's not, and I will not change it. But this is really what allows you to do some mid-range, long-range damage against amygdala, brietas, all the bosses that you need to sort of control the distance from all the time in the fight. You can't just go in their legs and just roll whenever they're trying to hit you. You have to force them into a pattern of exposing their heads to your melee attacks. And to do that, you need to be able to maintain pressure. And that is good for that. You can just do little bursts, and it does a lot of damage, because in the burst, that's the first weapon that shoots that registers the hit there, and therefore it's a bit more slow than a normal gun, but it's better for a build that doesn't have blood tinge than just a gun. So yeah. What is also good is the good old shotgun, because the shotgun for visceral and crowd control is great. The blunderbuss allows to shoot quick and recover quick enough to do pretty much whatever you want. So it's not slotted for damage at all. It's just slotted for HP recovery, because why not? I mean, it's not here for doing any form of damage. Not seriously. Voila, that pretty much concludes the demonstration of the arsenal, look at my phantom alter ego here on the right hand of the screen that does this bullshit as a repeat. It's like a Groundhog Day. Okay, well, let's go and see how it fares in an FRC dungeon. Search. Ftumeru heal, no additional right? Nah, fuck this. Ah, fetid rotten curse, but e-heal, it will be boring. I will have to use the church pick all the time. Would be freaking annoying. Is again, like seriously, the other day I wanted an is, I never had any. And now I don't want one, and I have only that. Okay, let's go for a lower Lauren. Between beasts, we can understand each other. Okay, we'll do the first layer to the first boss like I did so far. I find it's actually pretty informative. Okay, so the problem is that I'm in a Lauren, so I will probably not be able to use the Kirk Hammer, but because of beasts. But instead of using those guys, I will try to make use of everything. So I will try to use the Fist of Gratia as well, just for the shizzle. The shizzle, the giggle. Okay, what do we have here? I don't have my light on. Let's put the lantern on. What the fuck? Are you deaf? See? It should be dead. A running R2 with already beasthood on. Any other weapon would have one-shot this creature with full gem at this level. But no. Not the beast claw. Because only one of the arms actually connected. Okay, what do we have here? Freaking flies flying around me all the time. Oh, and what I forgot to mention is also the yell. Let's see. Let's go over there. If you have several of your friends around. Nah, fuck. Okay, the yell is building a little bit of beasthood and does a little bit of damage, but really not much. Oh god, only 216. See, it went straight on and does only 200 measly poor little points of damage. It is embarrassing. Anyway, so that's the problem with the beast claw, is that you basically spent a lot of time being the victim of wonky hitboxes that do not do the amount of damage that you are in perfect right to expect from your weapon. And that's the main issue. Okay, so let's go down. What do we have here? There's someone running around. I hear footsteps. Here? Ah, here. Okay, let's try to use the fist of Gratia. Let's try to box someone. There's nobody to box. God damn it. Oh, this is a very boring little Lauren so far. Okay, yeah. That opens here, sure. Okay. What do we have behind the door? Behind the... That's one of those guys. I don't want to fuck it up because those guys can kill you really quickly, but let's try to use that. Hello! Ah yeah, that's one shot of course. God damn it. Yeah. That's the only physical weapon I know that can kill it in 1 R2 these creatures. Usually these creatures are extremely resistant to physical damage, so it's kind of tricky to kill them in one hit. But as you can see, the whirligig so no problem. It tears through the beasts without any problem at all. It's the SUV of the Bloodborne weapons. Is that... That's not the right direction, is it? Nope, the other way. Yep, let's get out of here. It's nothing to... Shit, I'm lost. And that was down actually. Down, up. There we go. This way. Okay. What else do we have? What do we want to test? We want to test the Fist of Gratia. Gratia. To see how much more insane damage I can deal thanks to my secret trick of building up. Oh, that smells like a hunter is hiding in the shadow here. Nope. Huh. Okay, who wants to get punched in the face? Nobody? Punched in the face. In the face. Died alone? Oh. Ah, there's one here. Let's punch him in the face. Boom. He was terrified. He committed suicide. Alright, what else do we have here? This Lauren is... Yopla! See, my beasthood meter is increasing when I punch him with the Fist of Gratia. But by so little that it basically, before I hit again, it's almost reset. Which, yeah. Wow, that's what you get when you try to put only gimmicky weapons together. You get a gimmicky build. Ah. What? Did it? Oh no, it disappeared. When they are hidden like this at the corner on the bridge parts, they can very easily kill you. Now let's just put to the test the difference between this and... See, I need to hit 3 times with the beast claw in order to get to the same result as just one hit with the whirligig. Anyway, let's see what boss do we have. I don't remember where. I don't want to bother going back. By the way, pro tip, in case you never noticed, if you use the Hunter's Mark, you regenerate 100% of your health. Always good to take. Now, on a boss, and in general, as you have seen, the Feast of Gratia is utterly useless. It can be useful if you have several of your cooperators that have it at the same time, then you stagger to death the boss. But the truth is, for us, it will most probably be extremely boring and useless. Oh no, it's not a beast. Oh shit. Alright. Well. Oh, great. Yeah, so I was just trying to chain the transformation attacks, but against the Keeper of the Old Lord, since it's the fastest enemy in the game, that was very stupid. Don't do that. Anyway. Now, the Beast Claw is probably not the best weapon against him, especially not the transform mode, because you kind of want to be able to let's go Dark Beast of Lauren mode. Now you can actually get him. Oh my god. How can we actually spend so much time missing each other? Oh god. Any other weapon would have connected. Alright. Even that you do much more damage and it's much more easy to use. But anyway, do you know that if I visceral him here, I can actually make him climb to voila. He's not close enough, but here, yes. It's almost systematic. The guy disappears. Ah. Oh shit. He's got ranged attacks. I don't. Anyway, I was actually talking to someone on Reddit about that. The fact that he was mentioning, oh look what happened, like it's super rare and stuff. And I was like, no, it happens every time. Every time you visceral this idiot against the wall, this glitch triggers, especially in Lauren. Well, there you go. This absolutely works every time. Anyway, let's use. Let's actually basically use this guy as a test dummy. But okay, let's do it this way. I will. No, I need this. I will build a little bit of beasthood. If I actually manage to hit him with the fucking weapons. And now, what? Bye. Ah, I don't have enough stamina to fucking follow up. I can't. Anyway, Archon. Ooh. Oh no. That was a bad idea. I just want to land a good solid buffed, beasthood buffed charged attack with my Kirk Hammer. That's what will bring a smile on my face for today. Anyway, yeah, this guy you face roll if you have like your weapon, your firearm at the ready all the time. So typically a saw weapon and or the safe allows you to just chew through this bitch. But okay, let's go. Ah, 300. My God. Me. 1,400. Yes. And I'm still alive. Okay. Oh God. Okay, I did not mean to die like this at all. I thought I would actually manage to rush him before he shoots, but no. Anyway, let's just kill him and be done with it. I think I have shown how this build is supposed to work, and it can do massive amount of damage, but the truth is the reward to risk ratio is just not good. That's just a fact. Okay, let's just kill this idiot. Oh yeah. Oh, 3,000 points of damage, hey? What? Right, bye. I'm sorry, apparently I don't have enough neurons in my brain to both talk and play efficiently. Anyway, I will not show you what it gives against other beasts. I mean, you can imagine exactly what the whirligig so does on a beast when it's buffed by fire. It's just ridiculous. Voila, and that was the beast build that I used to think I love, but in fact I don't. It's really I don't like it at all. Anyway, maybe you will. So, but hey, you look cool.